So today we're talking about binge eating. Ziquita Bonita 16 asked me how to overcome a binge eating disorder. She has an issue with binge eating, and she's wondering what she can do about it because it's no fun, obviously. Now, our eating patterns, human eating behavior is affected by a lot of things, obviously. It's a very complex thing, eating. You know, we associate it with a lot of emotions, and depending on the setting and the time, a lot of emotional states get sort of mixed in with the food and eating behavior. So it can all sometimes get a little bit complex, and several things affect several other things. So it's quite a web of emotional patterns connected with eating. But we don't really have to worry about those things too much, because in my opinion there are only two main reasons why people binge eat. Two main reasons. First of all, let's just define what binge eating is. Binge eating is generally defined as an episode or a series of episodes of uncontrolled eating, just like eating a massive amount of food in one sitting and just being like gorging on food. Binge eating, you know. Generally speaking, it's also associated with eating something that you'd feel is bad for you, right? So binging on mangoes, you know, it's not really possible. I mean, you know, stuff yourself with mangoes and you get to a certain point, you're full, you're satisfied, you stop. It's not comfortable to eat more than what you need. So binge eating on mango is pretty hard to do, and most people would agree that, you know, it's not really a problem to eat a lot of mangoes. So binge eating is typically associated with unhealthy food. And also, you know, people that binge eat, they typically get into a pattern of binge and purge, which means that they will binge on food, and then the next day, for example, they'll go through a purge period where they feel guilty for eating all that food or whatever it was. And then they undereat that day, or they fast, or they just, you know, they don't eat at all to make up for the overeating the previous day. They undereat, and then the next day they're so hungry again, they're going to start binging again, and then they go to binging, purging. Very unhealthy pattern to be caught up in. So what's the solution? Okay, so before we get into the solution, well, the solution is in the problem, really. So let's talk about the problem, the two main reasons why people binge eat. First, and the main reason, is simply undereating. Okay, when you get into a raw vegan diet, or even a high carb cooked vegan diet, but especially a fruit-based diet, a raw vegan diet, there's less calories per bite. You know, a mango has only about 60 calories or something per 100 grams of flesh, because there's a lot of water, fiber. This is great. This means we can eat more total volume of food for the same amount of calories, as opposed to a diet of bread and high fat, very dense foods that are more dense in calories. So we need to learn how to eat enough food to stay satisfied. And then the other thing is that a lot of the food we're eating, a lot of the fruit, isn't really high quality. It's not really truly ripe. It hasn't developed the sugar that it was supposed to, and it isn't sweet enough to satisfy. So we might think we're eating enough calories, but we're really not. And when we're not eating enough calories, you know what happens? You get hungry. That's what it is. But of course, if you're theoretically like, oh no, I've had enough. I've eaten so much food that I can't possibly eat more food. No, I better just, you know, not eat. And then you just do that day after day after day. You know, on day 3, day 4, depending on how much you're under eating, you're gonna be seriously hungry, and it goes deep. It's like you're starting to crave more and more and more, and it gets more and more aggressive until you binge. Okay, and you just eat a whole bunch of foods, and you usually go to the densest food you can find. So you might go to high fat foods and cooked foods, obviously. And yeah, so you end up sort of binge eating. What's the solution there? Well, that's very simple. You need to learn how to eat enough calories on a consistent basis every day. That's when you get out of that problem with binge eating. And you gotta remember also that it's not just about eating enough calories, it's also about getting enough of those calories coming from carbohydrates. So ideally we should be getting 80% or more of our total caloric intake coming from carbohydrate. Our body prefers carbohydrate as a readily available fuel, and when we're eating fat, we're not as satisfied. Like fat takes a lot of time to digest and convert into readily available fuel, so that when we're eating a high fat meal, it doesn't actually satisfy us. That's why everyone eats dessert, right? Everyone eats dessert after a big meal because they didn't really eat fruit. They didn't eat the sugar to begin with. So eat the sugar to begin with. Get enough sugar in it. Get enough sweet, juicy fruits. Get enough carbohydrate so that you can stay satisfied throughout the day and do whatever you want, right? How do you do that? You eat sweet, juicy fruits. Lots of juicy fruits. Lots of bananas. Lots of mangoes. Lots of papayas. Jackfruits, all kinds of sweet fruits, but make sure they're good though, because there's a lot of bad quality fruit out there, unripe, not developed properly, doesn't have the sugar content that it's supposed to have. So you got to be a little bit vigilant. You got to think about it. Is this sweet enough? Is it really providing me with what I need? In the beginning of your raw vegan journey, it's actually a good idea to track your calories for a while, not like obsessively, but just go to chronometer.com, track what you're eating, and actually get objective about how many calories am I actually eating, because we're so used to certain portion sizes on our cooked food, normal diet, that once we get into fruit, if we keep eating the same portion sizes, we're not getting nearly enough calories, nearly the same amount of calories that we used to get. So track your calories. See, I'm just eating 1400 calories. Oh my god, no wonder I'm binge eating every third day if I'm just eating that little calories. Track your calories. Make sure you get the majority of your calories from carbohydrates, preferably from fruit. Second best option is starch. Things like sweet potatoes, even rice, beans, that sort of thing. So, number one reason people binge eat, just simple undereating. You may not think you may think I'm not undereating. I eat a lot of food. I eat so much food. You have no idea sometimes how much food you need to eat on a raw vegan diet to stay satisfied. There's a lot of food involved. Okay, so get objective about it. Track your calories. See how much you're actually eating, and that should help you a lot. And we have a lot of ideas in our mind about guilt associated with food, and eating a lot of food, we feel guilty about it. But the thing is, when we're eating our natural species-specific diet of raw fruits, our body will be able to judge how much we should eat, okay? If we sit down with a meal of mangoes, just go ahead and eat as much as you want. Your body will be like, satisfied, don't feel like eating anymore when it's full. You don't have to think, I should stop now, I've eaten so much. No. And you don't have to think, I should eat more, even though I'm full, I should really eat more. No, none of those situations are necessary. Just relax, listen to your body, eat as much as you want. No guilt, no pressure, just eat as much as you want. Your body will regulate it. But if you're eating low quality foods like mangoes picked unripe, that's not sweet, they're gonna fill your stomach, but they won't be giving you the calories you need. And you will be craving foods that are denser in calories. And if you do that on a consistent basis, eating low quality fruit, not eating enough, and then you feel like it's just something wrong with you, you're just always hungry. No, there's nothing wrong with you. You're probably just hungry because you're actually hungry, okay? You didn't eat enough calories, essentially. So just get on that, make sure you're eating enough, and quite probably your binge eating will go away.